Welcome on to the Friday edition of Talking to Myself, Talking to You, and you're in my lounge. Yesterday evening you were in my kitchen. Maybe we'll do one from the bedroom. And so, of course, we do a lot of them from the terrace. It's slightly cloudy today, and it is Friday now. What time is it? It's just coming on to 6 o'clock on Friday evening here in Spain. Anyway, I'm just near scratching myself. Anyway, you're very welcome. The subject of today is really just a discussion because it's part of our daily life now is about the war in Iran and my point of view. And it's very important that all of us have our own point of view. And I think I found in the office today, we're all talking about it, etc., what we're thinking. I suppose in a way, somehow, because I'm Jewish, it seems that I'm more involved in this war than the man on the street. This is rubbish. I'm not Israeli. I'm an Irishman. You know, everybody, I'm sure everybody, but English people, what do they think of their Prime Minister, Starmer? Not a lot. The Irish, I don't know if they think of the Taoiseach, I'm not sure. In France, you all have their opinions. And I'm sure in Israel, they have their opinions against Netanyahu, I would imagine too. And certainly in America, opinions on Trump. Now, the subject, the war. What worries me most about it, living here in Spain, in Europe, is the cost of living this war is going to affect. The cost of living. Look, petrol, you call it gasoline, petrol has already gone up incredibly here in Spain. I was speaking to some of the office today, I think they were paying 170 now, and it's now gone up to 240. I mean, that's one hell of a cheap. That is, you know, honestly, that's now. The war isn't over today, and then, you know, what Trump says, once the war is over, don't worry, gasoline prices will come plummeting down. Why does he promise these things? Even if the war finishes tomorrow, it's going to take a long time for normalization. But what worries me about the war is not just the cost of living, which is the things that will affect us. What worries me about the war, is who's in charge of this war. Now, I'm going to say this, and it's not going to be a shock to anyone. But honestly, I think that Trump, who's the top man, I think along with, Netanyahu, but honestly, you know, people say that Netanyahu persuaded Trump to start this war. I don't know. You don't know. It's just a conspiracy theory. I don't think, knowing the history of Trump, that anyone can tell Trump what to do and what not to do, and no one dares to do it. But let's say they've made the decision together to start this war. What worries me about Trump, I think he's mentally unhinged. I don't think he's fit to be a president anymore. I think, at the beginning of this tenure, I think maybe he was certainly not as bad as he is now. You know, he's close to his 80th birthday, he's getting older, but I do think he's mentally unhinged. Fine that he lies, fine. We all know that. There's no denying that, not even by the Republicans themselves. But to think that he is the top man in this war, the man who's making the decisions for the army, for the Navy, for the Air Force. You know, I believe it was there. He was having a party in Mar-a-Lago, this gold palace. And there's pictures of him there drinking, and then he goes into the office and he starts the war. What was the planning of this war? He admitted on television the other day, the Oval Office, he admitted sitting there that he didn't realize that Iran would attack all the American bases in the Middle East. Why didn't he? Why was he not advised by senior generals about this sort of thing? He says, these are his words, not mine, he went into this war because he was advised by Kushner, his son-in-law, by Hisketh, an ex-Fox presenter, and now the Secretary of War, and all he's ever done in the army has been Major for training troops, and the head of this war, and Mark Rubio, etc. These are the people who advised him. that America was about to be attacked. With what? With what? That Iran were saying, well, tomorrow we'll attacking America. No, they weren't. There's not an ounce of evidence, not 1 ounce of evidence, as there was for the 2020 election bullshit, excuse my language. Not an ounce of evidence. But forget that. I don't want to bring that into something. Just keep to the war now. There was no evidence. How could you start a war that is risking all our lives, all our future, on a whim? That's what he said. He said he enjoyed one part of the bombing the other day. Do you see him in the Oval Office when he's got guests there and he's got the press in front of him? To me, that's the sign of a maniac. And this is the man who's heading our war. You know, he ain't no genius, that's for sure. And I think that you need that genius war brain. He never served in the army. He knows nothing about any army. And he says things like, I made this army. It was up to me. I made this army. Okay, we can put up with all that sort of talk because it's no risk to us. But when someone like that heads up a war, attacks a country because some fox ex-presenter told him they were about to attack, I'm sorry, on his son-in-law, I'm sorry. These are guys without experience. Without experience. You know, you think you have a war cabinet, you will sit down with your senior generals, you will discuss the war, the fact that maybe we should or shouldn't attack Iran, the consequences of this attack, the long-term effect this attack will have, and the get-out clause. And this is all once it's in planning and everything's in planning, then you might consider attacking a country like Iran. I don't think they believed. You know, this to me is a sign of his mental state of mind. 2 days, now the war's been on, 20 days now? 2 days after starting this war, he declared it a victory. He said he had won the war. No, he hadn't. He said he had obliterated the Navy, the Air Force, the military, the radar systems. Really? How the hell in 20 days on are they still blowing up countries? Blowing up, well, I'm not saying countries, but they're still attacking countries in the Middle East. Why? There was something he said today which I found, you know, the monetary side of this war. He said he warned Iran not to attack Qatar. Qatar, someone called it, I call it Qatar. Don't attack Qatar or we'll come and get you again, as if Iran is really worried about that. But anyway, why Qatar? Why not Saudi? Why not Dubai? Why not the whole of the Middle East warn them? But why did you centre out Qatar? There's a few things about Trump and Qatar, isn't there? A small little thing like $2 billion investments into his son's companies, a $400 million jet. Makes you think, doesn't it? Why Qatar? You know, he's so, you can read him almost like a book. But he worries me. I've always said it, by the way, this is nothing new. I've always said it, but today, this is my point of view on the war now. And I know as soon as it goes up on social media, I know all the Trumpettes will be at me and they'll say, you hate him, 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 you hate him. Let's cut all that crap out. I think he's mentally unhinged. Forget hate or anything like that. It's what I observe. Maybe I'm mentally unhinged for saying that, but I'm sorry, that's the way I see Trump. And you have this guy called Peter and this girl coming at me. Just really, there's 2 or 3 of them, that's all. Come at me all the time, say, oh, you hate him. Or what is it called here now? I love this one. Trump delusion syndrome. Is it TDS? I think, I can't remember. This is like a big wall. Oh, he's attacking Trump again. Let's hide behind that. And then we'll tell him, the only reason he's hiding about that is TDS. Trump is certainly capable of running this war. Oh yes, he's got the ability, he's got the experience to run this war. Is that what you guys really believe? Do you really believe that? I can't say any more. Anyway, that's your time with me this evening, if anyone has spent it with me, and I look forward to speaking to you again. And let's hope somehow with our prayers we will see peace. We will see peace. That's it. Our only hope at the moment, in my eyes, is in God Almighty.